there's been talk about moving the Padres. You know what? I call poo-poo on that. There's no way the Padres are getting moved. I don't care if they sold the ball club, they brought in a new owner. They're not going anywhere. There's a variety of reasons for it. Number one, they got one of the best ballpark, if not the best ballpark in the big leagues. They're filling that thing up even on Monday and Tuesday nights. And they
Yep.
also can't go anywhere for a number of years because of the deal with the city.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring this point up because I've heard similar, and people are already speculating, oh, the Padres could move, and you're right. If I'm not mistaken, part of the deal with the city locks them in. I think it's through 2034. So I think that's the year date. So they're certainly not moving before then, and I think they have it going good enough now. I don't see. I think I agree with you. I think this speculation that, oh my gosh, this could mean the Padres could move. I don't see that either, because the city's involved and et cetera, et cetera. I think the more likely scenario is it could force a sale of the team if they can't all get to, if the Seidler family can't get together and get this ironed out. Because I think the Seidler family owns, I believe it's 45% of the team, and that's split among the various siblings. So it's not as if there's one person, hey, I own 50% of the team or 51% of the team. So what I say goes. In other words, there's a lot of money people involved here in the ownership group. And while the Seidlers are the owners and the majority owners, they own 45%. That's not 51%, so what they say goes, but the thing is, if they can't get together on this, and the lawsuit takes a bunch of turns, or however it plays out, I don't know if any one sibling's in position to buy the other four siblings out, or how all that goes. So I think I'm not sitting here today saying the Padres will be sold, but hopefully it works out. I know Shield has said the plan is to keep the team in the family's hands for a long, long time. And we all hope that, the best case for the Seidlers, for the city of San Diego, for Padres fans everywhere, we hope whatever the best case is, where things calm down and there's continuity and there's calmness. Hopefully all that works out. If it doesn't, then I think selling the team, a team sale, is a very distinct possibility. But I agree with you. I don't see, come on, let's not talk yet about they're going to move.
Scott, the 45%, the way I've got the Shield was left 25%. And then there's another 20% that the brothers and whoever else is involved. So she actually has the highest percentage from what I've gathered at this point.
Yeah, I think that's accurate, and so certainly she has clout within the team, the organization. Even if, as she says, the brothers are trying to push her out, if she owns more than they do. But again, you need to become you need to be a lawyer and a businessman and an accountant to understand all of this, because I mean, she owns the majority, but owning 25% of the team, I don't think that's a big enough majority to where she could just muscle everybody else out of the way.
I would like to be able to sit down with guys like Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts, Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, who my wife she saw him yesterday at a local bar. And she goes, I was starstruck. I was going to go up and say something to him, but I couldn't. He goes, man, he's really tall. And I go, oh, yeah, he's a good guy and a hardworking guy. But I'd like to know what their thoughts are.
Good posture, too. Good posture. Stands straight.
Oh, yeah.
He's tall. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We could only hope. But I wonder what those guys are thinking right now, because they've signed long-term deals with Peter Seidler and Shield. Seidler over the last couple of years, even before Peter passed, started becoming a little bit more of a frequent member at the ballpark and down on the field. I think he's very, very well liked, and we don't know the other guys. I mean, I know Tom Seidler, but I don't know any of the other brothers. But I wonder what the
Right.
players are thinking right now.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. Shield, I thought it was charming pregame during the playoffs in October during the Dodgers series. Uh, Shield was down on the field during batting practice, and I mean, she wasn't really doing interviews, but she was, chatting with people and players, but not just players, some media people and just some, whoever was down there. She seemed to be becoming comfortable in her role as an owner. Um, I thought she was really lit up by the love and the outpouring during October that people had for Peter Seidler, the signs, let's win it for Peter, stuff like that. Um, I think that made her feel real good. And she was on the field and it was charming to see her start to mix in a little bit after the tragedy she had lived through losing her husband. Um, and you're right. We don't know who the other guys are. I mean, I've never, other than Tom Seidler, I haven't met any of the other brothers. And like I say, to my knowledge, none of them have been around. Um, so you can't help but the way Sheil has kind of conducted herself since losing her husband, at least around the ballpark. Um, you can't help but be charmed by her and impressed by her and kind of root for her. To your question of the players, I would imagine, can't say for sure, but I'd imagine they feel similar. They've all met her. I doubt if they've met any of the other Seidler brothers. Um, but you're always whatever their familiarity kind of breeds comfort, right? Whatever you're familiar with, you're more comfortable in that than you are in the unknown. And so I would think the players being familiar with Shield would be comfortable, especially given the way her husband ran the business. Um, so I think the players. I mean, I don't know. Ultimately, they adjust. I mean, it's like when a manager gets fired, right? I mean, you might have liked the other guy, but you got to adjust. And um, ultimately, they're more worried about themselves and their own careers than they are anything else. But that said, the familiarity I mentioned with Shield, I have no doubt that the players have strong affinity for her, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they're rooting for her to, you know, take to stay in control.